Welcome to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. Later in the show, filmmaker Stephen Tallas will tell us about his new documentary, Standing the Heat.
I'm Lacey Sandoval. Summer has come to an end, which means it's time to get the flu and additional vaccines for protection of you and your family. In the studio to tell us more is Dr. Jennifer Veaco, family practice physician at Native Health. Hello, and welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, Dr. Veaco.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Could you please tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been with Native Health for almost 3 years now. I'm a family medicine physician and also a lactation consultant. I mainly work out of the Central Clinic, but you can find me at the West Clinic on Wednesdays.
Great. And what medical services does Native Health provide?
So we provide multiple services, not only medical services, but dental, behavioral health, community health, and wellness services for our community. In regards to medical services, we do preventative care, and then we also see sick individuals as well. So that's why we wanted to talk more about the flu season coming up, because we're ready to see more patients, hopefully coming in for their vaccines, and if they become sick, we can certainly help that as well.
Right. As we mentioned before, fall is coming. And why do we see an increase in illness during this time?
So there are a number of reasons why there is a season of illness. So it's all about how our viruses spread. There are 3 main viruses that we look at for the season. There's COVID, flu, and RSV. Now, they are spread mainly from contact and airborne or droplets. So the closer you are to someone who is sick, the more likely you are to be exposed and then to get sick. Now, in the fall time, we have lots of fun activities that a lot of people gather for, and then we have the holidays for Thanksgiving, for the holiday season in December as well. And so we have lots of communal family gatherings, and sometimes if someone comes in or if someone goes to that gathering and is feeling under the weather, they might inadvertently spread some illness to other people.
Right. And as we experience this increase in illness, how can we protect ourselves and our families?
Mm-hmm. Well, so we can think about trying to create clean air in environments. And so if you're having a family gathering, considering having more activities outside where there's fresh air, or you can open up some windows to have some good airflow. Because if people are inside and there's air conditioning and not very good airflow, then that kind of circulates the air and people are potentially exposed to other people's illnesses. Also, I think it's important to be courteous if you're feeling under the weather, and if you have kind of an optional event coming up, you might consider bowing out for that event just so that you don't get other people sick.
Can you tell us about the flu shots this year? Are they different every year?
Yeah, so the flu and the COVID shots are different every year. The reason being is they are designed to hopefully fight against the circulating strains that are going to be around during the flu season and during the fall season in general. So epidemiologists will look at circulating strains of COVID and flu throughout the world in the summertime and kind of think, okay, which strains are likely going to reach the U.S. and probably pose a lot of illnesses and hospitalizations. And based off of those studies, they will create vaccines against those particular strains. Now, some years, their educational guesses are better than others. So, but they do change every year based off of how the viruses change. So as we are more aware of how viruses change just based off of the pandemic, viruses can mutate and evolve as they kind of circulate through a population. And so one flu from one year is going to be likely different than another flu virus from another year.
And what ages and who should get the flu shot?
So the flu shot is going to be 6 months or older. So kids who are 6 months and older, and adults, teenagers.
So does that mean there's different types for different age groups?
Yes, there is some pediatric doses of the flu shot and then adult versions as well. Now, if the child has never gotten a flu shot, their first flu shot is going to be one shot and then a booster 1 month later. So usually if a kiddo is 6 months, 7 months around the flu season, then they will get one shot, and then we recommend coming in for a booster shot 1 month later. Now, once a child has gotten one flu shot in their lifetime, they don't need that booster shot. It's just one shot a year.
And about how long does it take for them to work if they've been exposed to the flu?
Well, so the vaccines, your body will mount an immune response and create antibodies against the flu or COVID or RSV, whichever vaccine you received, within 2 weeks. So it's not that you can go and get the flu shot and then next day you can be around a bunch of sick people and you'll be totally okay. I don't advise that. But yeah, it takes about 2 weeks for your body to develop antibodies to hopefully fight against the bugs that you'll encounter.
And in addition to the flu vaccine, are the new COVID vaccines available as well?
Yes, we do have the new COVID vaccines, and once again, they are for this season. So if you received the COVID vaccine last year, we do have a new COVID vaccine this year that I would recommend considering getting, because it is going to be different strains of the COVID virus, and it's going to be based off of, once again, what we think is going to be the strains that are going to affect people the most this season.
And could we talk about RSV? Is that different from the flu and COVID?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so RSV is the respiratory syncytial virus, and there are new vaccines for that as well. New meaning they came out last year. Now, the RSV vaccine doesn't change every year. There is studies still being done to see how long does immunity last once you get the RSV vaccine. As of now, we say one RSV vaccine and you're fine. We don't have to think about repeats. We've found that there's studies that show that so far the immunity to the RSV vaccine can last up to 2 years, but it can be longer because we're still studying that. Now, there are different RSV vaccines. So there's RSV vaccines for adults. The CDC is recommending everyone above the age of 75 to receive the RSV vaccine, and then also is recommending adults ages 65 to 74 who have increased risk of severe disease to consider getting the RSV vaccine. So that's going to be individuals who have lung problems, heart problems, who have allergies, asthma, those types of things where it would be worth it to get the RSV vaccine. RSV is a respiratory virus similar to COVID and flu, and it does cause hospitalizations and it does cause deaths. Now, there's also some RSV vaccines where there's one particular that is approved for pregnant women, and it's recommended to give pregnant women in their last trimester the RSV vaccine if they're going to be delivering during the RSV season. So if someone is full term, they're going to be delivering in the fall season, then please talk to I would recommend the patient talk to their OBGYN about getting the RSV vaccine. The reason being is if the mom gets the RSV vaccine, her body is once again going to make antibodies against RSV, and those antibodies are going to pass to mom from mom to infant. And when the infant is born, they're going to have protection against RSV, which is really awesome because RSV not only affects older people, but babies as well. They were doing studies to kind of see how effective it is to give the RSV vaccine to pregnant women and how that can help babies in turn. So it showed that moms who did get who did receive the RSV vaccine, they reduced the risk of severe illness to their infants. So their infants had an 82% less chance of going to the ICU for RSV when they are 3 months of age or less. So we've chatted more about RSV because there are these new vaccines on the market. There's vaccines for older people, vaccines for pregnant women, and there's also vaccines for infants. So for infants who are 8 months of age or less, who are in the RSV season, it is recommended to consider getting the RSV vaccine if their mom did not get the RSV vaccine when she was pregnant. So I would chat to your pediatricians if you have a young one to see if your infant kind of meets the criteria to get the RSV vaccine this year. Once again, they have to be younger than 8 months and within the RSV season. So I'd recommend parents to chat to their pediatrician about if their infant meets criteria to get the RSV vaccine. So if they are a young infant in the RSV season and mom did not get the RSV vaccine, I would highly recommend this vaccine. Now, something that's interesting is the CDC also recommends older infants to get the RSV vaccine if they do have increased risk factors of becoming ill with a respiratory virus. So these are children who are 8 months to 19 months of age. And if they have any reasons why RSV could really take them down and make them sick, then they can also get the RSV vaccine. So these are children with lung diseases or are immunocompromised. Now, interestingly, the CDC also says that infants who are American Indian or Alaskan Native do qualify as being increased risk for having a severe RSV illness. So once again, please talk to your pediatricians if your kiddos qualify for this vaccine.
We have vaccines for the flu, COVID, and RSV. Mm-hmm. What about allergies? What are some things that people can do if they experience allergies in the fall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do see more people coming in for allergies in the fall as well. Just with the season changing, that can cause seasonal allergies with like different plants blooming and more of the cold weather that can irritate some underlying asthma. So if you have asthma or if you have seasonal allergies, you're welcome to come in and we can assess to see if you need any treatment for allergies this year.
And when should someone come in to be seen if their allergies don't get better?
So I would recommend coming into the clinic if you've tried an over-the-counter allergy medication that's like, a non-drowsy allergy medicine that you can pick up over the counter. If you've tried it for a good couple weeks and you're still having lots of symptoms of runny nose, cough, congestion, difficulty breathing, we can reassess to see if someone else needs a different type of treatment, whether that be a different type of oral medicine or an inhaler or even a referral to an allergist.
And can people walk in for any of these services like the vaccines and anything that you mentioned about allergies?
Yeah, so at Native Health, you can schedule appointments, and then we also have some walk-in appointments as well. So the walk-in appointments are first come, first serve. And we offer walk-in appointments for if you're sick or if you're wanting a vaccine or that kind of thing. We can certainly try to get you on the schedule for that day.
And where can our listeners find more information about how they can make an appointment?
So you can go to Native Health's website, and it has lots of information about the different services that we offer, and we should have the phone number to call to make an appointment on the Native Health website as well. You can always just come in and schedule an appointment with one of our receptionists as well in any of our 3 locations.
Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today, Dr. Veaco.
Thanks so much. I hope to see you soon.
Coming up on Native Talk Arizona, Susan Levy chats with filmmaker Stephen Tallas. Support for KRDP 90.7 FM comes in part from Native Health, with 2 locations in Phoenix, 4041 North Central Avenue, Building C, near the corner of Central Avenue and Indian School Road, and at 2423 West Dunlap Avenue. Native Health is also located in Mesa at 777 West Southern Avenue near the corner of Southern Avenue and Extension Road. Native Health provides primary medical, dental, behavioral health, WIC, and wellness services for the urban Native American community. For more information, call 602-279-5262 or visit our webpage at nativehealthphoenix.org. Native Talk Arizona returns after this song. You're listening to The Lake Inside the Flower by R. Carlos Nakai, William Eaton, and Will Klipman.
Welcome back to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and KRDP 90.7 FM. I'm Susan Levy, and with us today is Stephen Tallas, and he is a cinematographer, director, and actor. And Legacy of the Land is a new 6-part PBS digital series focusing on climate issues and solutions in Native communities across the country. Filmmaker Stephen Tallas explores the Hogan, a small, unassuming traditional structure found across the Navajo Nation. Welcome, Stephen.
Hello, it's good to be here.
Well, I'm so glad that you're going to be here and tell us a little bit about your film and about you. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a Navajo, and I grew up on the reservation, Rough Rock, Arizona. Yeah, I just, I grew up, had a big family. It's like 5 brothers, 1 sister. And went to NAU for environmental engineering and graduated, but I always wanted to be a filmmaker, but I was too poor to do film school, so went to engineering, then wrote my first screenplay, Res Dogs, and I filmed it, with in 5 days with a couple of buddies by some work, and that got me going, opened some doors, and filmed another documentary with Water Warriors. I'm actually currently getting ready to release my second project, Native American found footage horror film called Skinwalker Cave. It's like Blair Witch with Skinwalkers, and then I did this project with Nova, and here I am.
Okay, so would we call you an actor a cinematographer and director? Would that be an accurate description? Besides an engineer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just like, I do everything, because like when you have no money, no resources, you kind of are pushed towards that. So filmmaker is fine. I feel like filmmaker encompasses all of that. So.
Okay. So, well, just for those of us that don't know, including me, what's the difference between a cinematographer and a director?
I feel like a cinematographer is the guy behind the camera getting those like shots to tell the story. And the director is like overseeing like the whole thing, the whole tamale. Kind of like making sure like the actors' performances are well, the story is being told. He collaborates with like the cinematographer and the people on his crew to make some awesome shots that really dial in the story and just move everything forward. And it's true to the script and the vision. Yeah, the different directors have styles. You see in a movie, you kind of like know, oh, that's a Quentin Tarantino movie. Oh, that's a, what's another guy?
So this would be a Steven Tallas movie, right?
Yeah. Steven Tallas movie. Yeah, it's like rough around the edges.
I think it was great. Okay, so I've got a question. So I know you've won some awards and some recognitions. What have you won and been recognized for?
Oh, yeah, my feature film. Yeah, I won a couple best films in a couple of places. And,
which film?
Res Dogs.
Res Dogs, okay.
Film.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was like my baby. It won best picture. It won Spirit Award at the Montana Film Festival, and then just a lot of people like wanted to see it, which is pretty cool. It happened during COVID, so it didn't really have the the impact I wanted it to have. So it's still kind of under the radar. But thanks to Reservation Dogs TV show, kind of lifted it back up of the abyss.
Okay, all right. So you have a new film documentary, Standing the Heat, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So did PBS Nova contact you after learning about your Res Dogs, or how did they find you?
No, there's this really awesome organization called Vision Makers Media. It's
Yep.
They did an open call for climate change video ideas, and I submitted to it thinking I wasn't going to get chosen, but but
lo and behold, you were chosen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you submitted this idea to them, did you have this idea about using the Hogan, or did you just pitch climate change? What did you want to do?
Well, the Hogan. I always wanted to do a documentary about the Hogan because, like, the Hogan's been a part of my life growing up. It's something I remember really vividly. I remember when it's super hot outside in the res, it's like when it gets 100, maybe 98. I was going to like my grandma's Hogan at the time, and like it's just like cool, like it's not extremely hot. And there's no AC or electricity in there. I was like, this is awesome, and I always kept that behind my mind every time the heat, and like even though when it gets really cold too, like the Hogan's pretty warm without the without all the modern, the insulation and whatnot. But then when I went to college, I got into like the more technical engineering aspects. And then I was like, I wonder like how scientifically differentiates a modern home versus a Hogan, and what makes what is the temperature difference. And which I thought was pretty fun, and that's when I pitched them the project with the Hogan, saying like the Hogan can withstand climate change, and here's proof as compared to like a modern house you find on the reservation. And so if you watch the documentary, that's kind of what I'll set out to do, comparing and contrasting the differences of the thermal radiation between a modern house in a Hogan. And and the technology is pretty awesome because like you can visibly see like the heat radiates from different areas. And I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, sorry, that was like a long answer.
No, I did watch the documentary, and I was really fascinated between the traditional Hogan, the modern Hogan, and the home. And, you know, when you're talking about climate change and the mega drought and everything else, and how it was so well insulated. But so tell me about the three different things that you measured. So you measured a traditional Hogan. So tell me about that for our listeners that are not familiar. Like, how hard is it to build a Hogan? Have you started one yet? How long is it going to take to build? All those kinds of things.
Yeah, definitely. When I pitched the documentary, I mean, that's so, like in the Navajo culture, there's a community age ceremony called Kinista, and that's what when my daughter reaches puberty, and it's like around 13, and she's 1 right now, so I got 13 years to build a Hogan.
Do you think you're going to get it done?
How to build a Hogan? Oh yeah, I'm thinking, but it's extremely hard. I mean, I had no idea how to build a Hogan. Nobody in my family built a Hogan. I don't know anybody, but I was lucky to find a awesome person who still builds Hogans the traditional way. And he showed me how hard it was going to be to build a Hogan. So basically, like, you have to have like hundreds of logs, juniper mainly, and you have to be like somewhat straight. And knowing juniper trees, it's pretty hard to find. And not only that, like the pillars that hold up the roof and kind of make the structure, those have to be over 15 inches thick. And I was like, whoa. And just the amount of labor and moving those big logs and stacking them and making the clay adobe like materials to form outside of the Hogan. Like it's gonna be I feel like it's gonna be really, really hard. And I think with time though, and like persistence, I think it's doable, because all you really need is just a chainsaw, a wood permit, and a truck, and
and a lot of time and energy and being strong,
and time,
right?
Yeah, and time, yeah. It's like all it is dirt and wood. I mean, it's not all that it is, but it's just like, simply break it down. It's like built from the elements around the area. So, but yeah.
And you have 12 years, you said, to do this?
13 years.
But your daughter's 1,
years, yeah,
right?
She's
so you have 12 more years?
Yeah, 12 years.
So is this a one-person job, or are you going to need a lot of people to help you?
Oh man, like I think I'll need like 4 people, because some of those logs are just impossible to like lift by yourself to put in place.
And how many logs did you say for the Hogan? How many does it take?
Oh, I think over 300 easily.
Okay, and then so that's the traditional Hogan, and I do want to ask you one more question. Historically, when people build Hogans, is it a group of people that do it, or a family, or who does it? The whole.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, like it's the family.
Family.
Like, everybody just pitches in and builds it together, because it is like kind of like a community kind of project. And there's one aspect I remember, like when I was interviewing Roberto for the doc. I remember he said, I don't think he made it a documentary, but I remember him talking about like how the Hogan brings the family together. I asked him like how. He's like, yeah, well, with the Hogan, you have to take care of it. It's not like one and done. So it means like everybody has to pitch in and work together to maintain the outside of the dirt. And then he said, therefore, like everybody has, an interaction, so them doing something together. And so like it brings everybody closer, because they're like taking care of the home together. And I thought that's pretty awesome, because like in modern homes, it's like once you build it, it's kind of done. So there's really no, I mean, really no extensive like putting mud on the walls and kind of like taking weeds out. But on the Hogan, you take some care for it, and so when the family all joins in together, that's kind of like everybody's project, it's their home and bringing them closer together.
But that's good. I mean, it keeps everybody together and strengthening the family unit and togetherness. So that's the traditional Hogan. And then you talked about in the documentary a modern Hogan. And what is that?
Yeah, modern Hogan's basically using modern materials to build it. But the caveat is like they don't add a floor to it, so it's all dirt floor. So just imagine they have a foundation of center blocks, and they use regular 2x4s for the walls and insulation. Then they roof it regularly, but the floor is dirt. And those are usually used for like ceremonies and because in like quick ways, like if you want a Hogan, the like a gathering place. Yeah, that's what they use it for.
And how many people does it take to build that? Could you build that by yourself, or same thing? You're going to need a few people to help you, right?
Yeah. I was looking at probably 2 people could build it because like the roof's kind of tricky because it's an octagon, and so like they all meet at a different angle that's non-typical of a pitch roof or like regular trusses. So it's all customized. So there's really no one set way to like build a Hogan. So it's not like, it could be 8 sides, 6 sides, or even like 10 sides. It just and also the roof or the chimney doesn't have to be in the center. It could be like offset. And so it's definitely tricky, and definitely need someone to build it, or someone to help you to build it.
But not 12 years.
Oh, yeah. It's not 12 years. No.
Maybe 12 weeks.
Yeah, 12 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, then we're going to jump to, since we've talked about traditional Hogan, modern Hogan, let's talk about the home. So when you were comparing that was just a regular, since I'm referring to the documentary, so you did it's not a thermal gun, it is what was that device called? The temperature.
Top of my head, it's a temperature thermal readers. It was
okay.
I forgot the brand, but it just shoots it to your.
Okay, so phone. In the show, in your documentary, you measured the 3 different things: a traditional Hogan, a modern Hogan, and a house. And so the idea behind it is showing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is showing that with the traditional Hogan, that it is so well insulated and it will maybe protect the inhabitants from climate change or keep them cooler in extreme weather. Is that a good way of describing it?
Yeah, without AC or any kind of special like fans or something.
So how do you hope that your movie is going to impact the audience understanding of traditional structures and climate change? Do you think that when people watch this, they're going to think, wow, the indigenous community was so ahead of everybody else in making a traditional Hogan, and it's 20 degrees cooler and so smart and so intuitive?
Yeah, I mean, I just hope like people could just focus on like going back to like designs that are sustainable to the environment. And like, for example, like the Hogan just uses wood and dirt and clay, and it also just it's withstand like thousands of years of different shifting climates, and it has been used since then. And like what I want people like to get from this is like maybe if we can't afford houses, which it seems like most millennials, we could try to go back and build a Hogan, and especially for the people that live off res, and just like get ready for like a place to go back to. And Hogan, I feel like, is a good place and doesn't cost as much as a full-on building. And I've seen these traditional Hogans actually like retrofitted with like solar panels and lights, and I've seen them like with like rock and dirt floors, and that just it could just be what you want it to be. But I think with the shifting climate changes and the differential temperatures, like I think the Hogan is a perfect place to wait out any kind of climate change, just in case there's a cataclysmic, just shifting climate. I think it'd be a good,
it's getting hotter
to live.
So when you use the thermal device, whatever it was called, so if it was 100 degrees outside, let's just say, to make numbers easy, what was the temperature inside a new home, and then the modern Hogan and the traditional Hogan? What was the temperature difference in each of those?
Oh, yeah.
If it's outside at 100 degrees.
It's like around almost 10 degrees difference. So it was like 100 degrees, it's like 87.
In a home, right?
That's the home.
Okay.
But compared to home to the Hogan, it's like 20-degree difference. So it's like so if it's 100, it's like 80 degrees inside the Hogan, which is like, it's not cold, but if you're outside in 100 degrees and hit that 80 degrees, you'll feel it. I mean, it's like.
And do you think, because I know you have an engineering background, is that due to the mud, and it's just so well insulated with the juniper logs in the mud? Why is it that it's so much cooler in there than in the home?
Yeah, I think my theory is like it's just when you see it in the thermal images, I think the floor acts like a big heat sink. And so if it's like for example, I think one part of the documentary, you see my hand touch the floor, like my hand's radiant red from like my thermal heat coming from my hand, and the floor is just ice blue. And I just touch the dirt, and you can see the heat transferring into the floor and dissipating. And so I'm thinking of that with a combination of the thermal properties of the wood and the soil on top. And like there's really no windows inside the Hogan, so it's like really just kind of really sealed pretty good. And it's thick. The walls are like each log's an average 12 inches wide, plus with the bark and the adobe. They go to like 15 or 20 inches wide at some places. At the base, it's probably even wider. It's probably like around 3 feet thick.
Okay, let's get a thermal reading of the traditional Hogan.
And walk inside. Here we go. 93. Oh, man. That's like 69, 68. It is cooler in here. It is way cooler in here. Then you go here. Outside. 108.
And finally, the modern Hogan. Modern Hogans are the same overall shape as traditional Hogans, but use a mixture of modern and traditional materials.
Whoa. It is really cool in here. Yeah, and the ground is just really cool and absorbs all my heat.
I was like totally just, I couldn't believe the temperature difference. And I know in the documentary, and I know earlier in this interview, you mentioned you have 5 brothers and 1 sister? Or 6 brothers? 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So the reason I bring that up is your sister was in the documentary, right? And she's involved in, was she an engineer or climate change, or what is she? What does she do?
She's involved heavily in like climate change and sustainability in communities.
And so she did speak in the movie, and I was really impressed. You both sound like engineers, and knowing a lot about it. Did you have any special fun experiences during anything from the documentary Standing the Heat, either with her or just making the film?
Yeah, she's my little sister, so we had like it was pretty hard interviewing her because she's like, I can't be serious around you, and I was like, just put on your Virginia Tech climate scientist mind, and it took a couple of takes before we got a good one where she was like, like more comfortable speaking about climate change, and yeah, it was actually really fun. We had a bunch of. I didn't make it a documentary because I think it got a little too long, but I was just definitely teasing her because she's way smarter than me for sure.
Does she? I don't know about that, but does she? What did she think about what you showed and that the Hogan was much cooler? Did she know that already, or was she very impressed or interested, or have any suggestions?
Yeah. Definitely. She knew that already. I mean, from like actually growing up on the reservation too. I mean, she remembers like just going into the Hogan, being like, oh, I'm gonna cool off in the Hogan, and just like laying on the ground, cooling off from the heat outside. And she definitely she really liked the thermal images and kind of like to show visually how cool it is compared to the other structures. And she was really really impressed with that.
I thought it was pretty cool. So what message or feeling do you hope viewers were going to take away from watching Standing the Heat? Do you want a positive message that we should all be careful with climate change and pay attention and it's real? Or do you think it's that we should go back and people should be building Hogans? So what kind of message or what do you hope to invoke?
Yeah, I just want to evoke like maybe in the future, as climate change changes, maybe we look back to the Native American tribes that were here before and like look at the designs of their structures and maybe take little bits from that and add it to the modern structures to combine the two designs, and maybe it'll be an awesome way to combat rising energy costs and to save us from the heat.
Well, and I also liked how you said millennials can't afford houses, and maybe this is a good option for people. So what do you hope to achieve by bringing attention to the Hogan, in terms of like climate change, the extreme heat, well, you sort of just answered it, but I guess it's just bringing more attention to the Hogan and how it can endure the mega drought and the heat. I guess, is that the message?
Yeah. And how people could be inspired by the designs and use the materials and like just how the way it's like scientifically like conducts heat, and maybe houses could have some type of heat sink that regulates heat naturally without the addition of an expensive AC unit, and
expensive.
And also and it's a fun thing too. Believe it or not, I saw a picture online of Will Ferrell staying in a Hogan at an Airbnb in Monument Valley, and
I saw that.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe bringing some attention to that, and that Hogans are the answer. But how'd you make the jump from being an engineer to doing all this? Like, you are obviously very smart and engineering-like and, very intellectual. And then how did you jump into the creative side of making films?
Yeah, I just, that was something I always wanted to do. Just because, like, I had a bunch of ideas. I used to draw a lot of comics in middle school and like high school, and I was just like, man, it'd be cool if it made a movie like this. And then I just started just going for it, and then it kept going, and and I definitely just love how like the stories you can tell, and being an independent filmmaker too kind of gives you like the leeway to like telling stories the way you wanted, And I'm being actually encouraged by the people who watch my films and like my friends and family, and to keep going and to make more films for the people.
I think it's awesome. So tell me a little bit about, so it's the PBS series. It's called Legacy of the Land. It's 6-part, and they're all Indigenous filmmakers doing a different take or part of talking about climate change and mega drought, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then there were 6 of you. Did you ever meet the other filmmakers?
We had a Zoom meeting online.
Okay.
Just like briefly.
Okay, that's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. I hope to meet him one of these days, you know.
And then what does the name mean, Standing the Heat? What is that? Is it just like the Hogan stands the heat? Is that the play on words, or what is that?
Yeah. I thought it sounded pretty cool, like withstanding the heat.
Okay.
It's like a shield against the heat, kind of.
Okay. Totally true. Do you have any special memories or something funny that happened, or anything you'd like to share when you were making the movie?
I did one failed experiment without the thermal gun. I didn't make a documentary, but I tried to use thermostats to like show people the readings, but that failed because it's just like, you know, like I didn't have a control point, so like I moved it and just it was a big mess. And at the same time, I kind of spilt this pot of like I think it was like beans I was soaking, and yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. But
well, we didn't see any of that in the film. At least I didn't see that. So, what plans going forward? More movies or more engineering, or both?
Yeah. Well, currently I'm doing like engineering to pay the bills, but hopefully one of these days just keep making movies. But I actually do make movies. I got that Skinwalker cave found footage horror movie. So trying to get that in theaters right now, and just doing a lot of writing, like screenplays, and trying to get together like some projects, especially some more documentaries.
So we had another guest on recently, and I know I'm kind of moving off topic, Monty Yazzie. And did you know he is one of the producers of the Phoenix Film Festival? We got to connect you with him, because you got to submit some of these. So anyway, we'll connect you with him.
Yeah. I was I'm too poor to submit to film festivals, so I'm just going straight to theaters because they're like $60 to $100 an entry.
Well, we'll connect you with Monty. We'll see what he says. Okay, so do you think you're going to finish the Hogan by the time your daughter's 13?
Oh, wow.
Maybe?
I mean, that's the goal. Maybe if I get every time I go back to the res, get 3 logs, you know, and just storm, maybe.
And get it done slowly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple more questions. When is this series airing? Is it already available online, and how can you find it?
Yeah, it's available 1 episode per, I think, every 2 days, and my episode's appearing this Sunday on the Nova YouTube, and it's you'll see me because I'm the. What's unique about this documentary is I'm not you actually see me, so you're going on a journey with me to the reservation to find. To find the answers to Hogans. And so, I'll be narrating the documentary, and then it's on the PBS Nova YouTube channel and also their website.
I thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I thought you had great humor. I thought it was really engaging. I learned a lot. I thought the cinematography was beautiful. I thought you did just an A+ job on it. I thought it was great. My husband and I watched it last night, so it was really good.
That's cool.
So if people want to contact you or find out more information about Standing the Heat, how do they reach you? Do you have a website, Instagram, Facebook, or email?
Yeah. It's I have a website. It's www.crazynativefilms.com.
Okay, we'll have to get you on for crazynativefilms.com. And so Crazy Native Films, www.crazynativefilms.com. And it's Stephen Tallas, and we really appreciate it. I think you did a great job. I can't wait to hear what your next project is and hopefully see some of your horror movies in the theater. But thanks for talking about Standing the Heat. And I know people are going to really enjoy it, learn about climate change, the traditional Hogan, the modern Hogan, and a home, and see how different it is. So thank you so much, Stephen. We really appreciate it.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you for listening to Native Talk Arizona, presented by Native Health and 90.7 FM KRDP. Our executive producer is Susan Levy. Sound engineer is Javier Quiroga. We hope you will tune in again next week. If you have any questions, please reach us at nativetalkaz@listen2krdp.com.